Welcome back to the Real Life Runners Podcast, episode number 450. So you already know what to do. We live in the information age. There's no shortage of information. You know you should strength train. You should eat more protein. You should slow down on your easy runs. You know you should go to bed earlier. So why aren't you doing all of that consistently? And maybe you are. I don't know. But maybe you're not. And if you're not, why aren't you? That's the difference between information, implementation, and integration, something we're calling the 3 I's that we're going to be talking about on this episode. And we're going to show you the difference between these 3 things and how to move into the third, into that integration spot, because that's where real change occurs. So stay tuned. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back to you, Kev. I did last week without you.
There's been a little bit without me.
Yeah, because I've done, I think, 2 solo episodes this month. It's been a crazy month.
Yeah, you had a birthday episode. You had
did.
The last one. I'm listening to your last one. It's excellent.
You liking it?
I do like it.
What was the last one? Oh, the foundation.
The foundation one.
The running foundation. Yeah, that was a good one. So today, I really like the topic that we're going to be talking about here as well, the difference between information, implementation, and integration. And in case you guys are ever wondering how we come up with the topics for our episode, tonight Kevin and I were sitting on the couch, and I was basically falling asleep. And we were trying to come up with ideas of what we were going to record this week.
Well, we were in the kitchen trying to come up with ideas, and you said, I want to go sit on the couch. And
because I was tired. Like, it was one of those nights. You guys ever have those nights where all of a sudden you're fine, then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I'm so tired. Like, it just hits you out of nowhere.
Yes.
That's what I had going on tonight.
Yeah, so you moved to the couch. I'm like, well, she's not going to last very long on the couch.
I totally thought I was going to fall asleep.
We were brainstorming back and forth. I had some ideas that were shot down, and then you came up
I did not shoot anything down. You had some good ideas.
Yes, and then you came up with this idea of taking in information versus actually doing something and implementing it. Then you fell asleep for about 3 seconds.
Closed my eyes.
Like you were out.
I was resting my eyes. I don't think I was actually out.
No, she was out. Because we were having a conversation. I was trying to explain how we could expand on the thing, and you responded, and you trailed off at the end of the sentence, fell asleep for about 3 seconds, and then you said, we should do information, implementation, and then a third step of integration. We can call it the 3 I's. And she said it so clearly and so eloquently. I'm like, you were just asleep. What just happened?
An information download. That's what happened. I got the inspiration from above. Maybe we should make inspiration one of the I's as well.
I feel like that's step 1, really.
Inspiration, information. Yeah, oftentimes they can go together.
Yes.
So we're going to make that a part of this too. All right. So before we dive into the episode, do you want to give everybody an update on how you've been feeling? Because it's been about a month now since your race.
And I have run fewer miles in the last month than I did on that day.
Excellent.
Sort of. I'm really trying to get back into a good rhythm, and I'm finally there. It just took a little while to get to it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I said this on the last episode, is trying to get in that rhythm with coaching track and field is a tough rhythm to get into. Yeah,
especially because so far this season you haven't had help on the track and field coaching side of things.
Yeah.
Until recently.
Yeah, my throws...
Has the other coach started yet?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
And then my throws coach is also our strength coach for like weightlifting team.
Yeah.
And they made it to states. And so I didn't have him for a while. Mm-hmm. Like I sort of had him, but not.
Yeah.
Not
so
exactly.
When you're trying to do it all yourself and recover and do all the things, plus your parents were in town visiting, which was nice, but there's been a lot of things kind of getting in the way of your running, but you're back on track now.
I mean, you know how it goes. Like I don't really compromise on sleep as much as I used to.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, no, for long-term health reasons. Like if I'm in bed after a certain time, I'm not getting up at 5 to go for my run. It's just not going to happen. And that has led to several days where I'm not able to get in a run. Yeah,
I think it's tough when we have teenagers now because our teenagers like to stay up later and then also need to stay up later on a lot of days because they've got homework and various after school activities that take up their time. And so things tend to get pushed later into the evening.
And then the Olympics happened.
Yes, that's true.
And I want to watch all of the Olympics.
Yes.
So it's...
How long does that coverage stay up? Do you know? Because it stays up for a little while, doesn't it? That we can go back and watch replays?
I think we get about a week.
Okay. Just curious because there's some stuff that I missed and I don't know if I'll be able to go back and catch it or not, but In theory.
In theory.
In theory. All right, so let's dive into the first part.
Are you feeling inspired?
Which is information, and we're going to tack on a little bit of inspiration here, because I think this is where a lot of us start. When we want to start making a change of some sort, we start to gather information, and maybe we also start gaining inspiration from people. Maybe that's what kind of leads to the change in the first place. So maybe inspiration would be the first step before we even get to information.
Sure, 100%.
Right, those two can probably kind of be swappable.
Well, if you haven't been doing anything and then you have 2 weeks of Olympic coverage, that's a whole heck of a lot of inspiration in your face. True. And suddenly you're like, you know what? I might want to think about how I would go about whatever the process is.
Starting to learn how to bobsled.
Yes. Like I'm gonna be a luger in 4 years. It's gonna be amazing.
Luge. No, see, this is one of the things I decided, because like, especially with the 41-year-old that won the bobsled,
yes.
like that was awesome. Good for her. So excited. I was like, oh man, I think I could do that. And then I was thinking about what bobsled entails, and that entails going really, really fast down an icy track. And I don't like roller coasters, so I don't think that would be a good fit for me.
Yeah, I want to know if there's,
because I know in a roller coaster you're actually strapped in and safe, and bobsled there is no guarantee of safety whatsoever. Like you could literally die.
There's not. Yeah. There's not a safety.
So I don't think that's a good choice for me.
Yeah, no. Luge, on the other hand, seems awesome. Like, is there a way that I could do that I don't have to like go train excessively and figure out how to shoot myself like 70 miles an hour down the thing? Like is there like a starter route where you just get on the luge and somebody just kind of pushes you from behind? Because sign me up for that. That sounds like fun. You're
being serious.
Yeah, 100%. That sounds like a blast.
You would like to try a luge.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you just hold these handles and you'll be fine. Because I feel like if you...
I mean, you do like roller coasters.
I love roller coasters. And I'm not going to steer so well that I'm going to hit any sort of ridiculous speeds. I'm going to be going like 30 miles an hour down the thing.
Yeah, but I think that even if someone were just to kind of like give you a little push, you're going to be picking up to some high speeds there, don't you think?
No, because I've watched the people in the Olympics, and they make the slightest minor error in steering, and their speed drops from like 80 to 65. I would only be making errors in steering, and because you know how I drive, and so
cautiously.
Thank you. And so there would be a lot of cautious steering involved. So I'm going to max out at like 25, 30 miles an hour going down the thing.
I just don't think that's how it works, Mr. Physics.
100% that's how that works. I really just want to wear the outfit.
So once we feel inspired, I'm just going to let that one go right past me. Then we often move into information gathering phase. And sometimes information does come before inspiration. Sometimes we start to learn new information, and that can inspire us to take action. But the information phase is what you're doing right now. It's listening to podcasts. It's reading books. It's saving Instagram posts or watching YouTube videos, attending workshops. It's all of these things that we do that feel productive. All of them feels like we're making progress, which is really good. So we get that dopamine hit time after time after time, but it doesn't actually create change. Just having more information doesn't actually create change. It just increases your awareness. It doesn't affect your behavior until you move into the action step.
Yeah, but it feels so good.
It does.
Especially if like the saving the Instagram post, I will come back and do that exercise.
How many times have I ever gone back to an Instagram post that I've saved?
I do it all the time because I say...
You actually?
Yes, because I don't just send them to people because I like to sit next to somebody and see their reaction to them. It's why I send you almost nothing. I collect things.
That's why?
Yes. And then I share them with you or I share them with our daughter, and I don't send them because I'm like, here, I've got a few ones that I've collected for you. But I feel in this world of taking in the information, one of the things that I like to save is various like exercises, running workouts, and the stuff that's actually useful information, not the stupid jokes that I save, but the useful stuff. I don't know how many of those I've ever gone back and looked at.
Yeah. I have a lot of different categories in my saved posts on Instagram. Recipes, good to know, things to share, travel, and I don't think I can probably count on two hands how many times I've gone back to actually look at that. But it feels good at the time because I'm learning new information. I'm like, oh, I'm going to save this for later and I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to make this recipe for sure.
Which gives the illusion of progress.
Yeah.
Because it seems like I now have knowledge of something that I didn't have before. So clearly I'm moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
But you're not moving anywhere.
Yeah.
Because nothing's actually changing. You now just have new knowledge in your head that may or may not even stick.
Right, but it feels so good. It feels so productive. And I think that this is where so many people get stuck. I know that I have caught myself getting stuck in this phase before because it does feel really good. I love knowing things. I love knowledge. I'm a very inquisitive person by nature. I love to question things. I love to learn. And so I think it's very easy to get stuck in this phase where all we're doing is consuming information and learning things, and because it takes more to put them into action and actually start to implement those things.
Oh, 100%. Like, how many people have listened to this? We're at episode 450?
450 is wild.
That's a lot of information.
Yeah.
But not necessarily a lot of results. If all you do is sit and take this in. If you've been taking all of these episodes in, one, thank you. But if you're taking all these episodes in while sitting or driving and not doing anything with it, you're probably not making a whole lot of progress.
And that's why I think that it's interesting when people join the team that have been listening to the podcast for years, because I mean, I get messages from people thanking me that for the information that they've learned on the podcast that they've then put into action. They've then implemented that and seen changes. And then I also think there's a lot of people that listen to the podcast for years and they finally decide, okay, you know what, I've learned a lot of things, but I'm not seeing the changes. Maybe I should join the team and actually put these changes into action. And that's really when they start to see it, because they realize at some point and they recognize that knowing this information isn't enough unless you have a way that is actually going to work for you to implement this. And that's going to take us into step 3, into integration, which we're going to get to in a little bit here. But I think that, information is a very sexy place for a lot of us to be. And I think that's why we tend to spend so much time in this, especially since we have phones in our hand at all time. We have these little information devices that like to tell us things that are interesting, true, and not true all the time, all day long.
Yeah, but like you just pointed out, you get people that thank you for the information. You don't get messages that thank you for how wise that episode sounded. You get thank yous when someone hears how wise an episode sounded and then did something. And then you get a thank you because they
I actually get both.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like the second one is a more useful email to get for the person sending it.
Absolutely.
Like that's the one.
And those are the emails that I like to receive. I like to receive all the emails. So if you guys want to send an email or make a comment, I've been Spotify. You can now leave comments on individual episodes. I don't know if you guys knew that. So if you guys listen to us on Spotify, that'd be really cool. If you could leave a comment on whatever episode you like, leave one on this one if you like this episode, and let us know what you liked about it. But I love reading all comments and all emails, but it makes me really happy when people take the information and actually put it into action.
So I shouldn't just comment, "You so handsome"?
Why you so handsome? That was one of the comments I got on one of my YouTube videos last week.
Which was my subtle way of transitioning and suggesting that if you didn't realize that Angie's putting out a ton of stuff on YouTube, check out Angie on YouTube. It's fantastic. And yeah. I'll always comment, "Why you so handsome?"
Why you so handsome?
Always.
So good. Your dad's response to that was like, okay.
He was confused.
Very confused. But yes, I actually have started a brand new YouTube channel at Dr. Angie Brown, and I have been putting out a ton of content and videos over there. Also on TikTok now at Dr. Angie Brown. If you're on the TikTok-y, I'm getting some new followers on TikTok. I've got to make sure they know I have a podcast.
Excellent. I bring that up because you've known those platforms existed for a while. You had information about those platforms.
That is true.
But the last thing before we move into implementation, do you see how I did here?
I see what you did there.
You had all the knowledge that you could do things on YouTube.
Not only the knowledge, but the desire. Like, oh, I really need to start this. I really need to start posting more on YouTube. Like, I knew I wanted to do that.
But it's uncomfortable to do that. It felt safer not to do that. It's always safer to sit and read the book, to listen to the podcast, to take in more and more information. Just keep scrolling through your phone and taking in more knowledge, because knowledge feels great and feels like progress, but it's not. It's just safety wrapped up in the illusion of progress. Actually then taking that knowledge and doing something and implementing, starting the YouTube channel up and taking in the comments from who knows who, that's where it feels less safe, but then you actually get more results.
That is true. And thank you for calling me out. And because it's true, 100%. And
I was just trying to connect. I wasn't trying to call you out.
Well, hey, call me out. You know that I like that. I like when people call me out on things or connect things. I'm all about all of that because it's true. And I can sit here behind a microphone and I can preach things of what people should be doing. But that is, important for everyone to know is that we both fall into these traps as well.
Oh, I'm going to pick on myself on part 2.
Oh, I always fall into the information trap because information feels good. Like I mentioned, like I love learning. So it's very easy for me to get stuck in that world and just collect more and more information. But nothing's going to happen with that information until we move on to step 2, which is implementation. So implementation is action. It's taking that information that you've received and actually doing something about it. It's trying that strength workout. It's going back to that video that you saved on YouTube and actually trying the exercise that I'm demonstrating in that video. It's doing the mobility drills that you know you need to do. It's actually running easy instead of pushing harder on all of your runs. It's tracking protein for a week because literally protein is everywhere now. You have to be eating more protein. So, okay, I can eat more protein, but are you actually tracking it? Are you actually eating more protein? Are you actually eating cottage cheese every single day?
Like, honestly... that's
and I love cottage cheese, so I'm not knocking that.
I was going to make my own cottage cheese joke. I was going to say, just because you're taking in 2 spoonfuls of cottage cheese extra a day does not necessarily mean you're tracking protein. But
it is a good start.
It is a start. It's an implementation.
It is.
It's a step in the right direction. You're doing something. You're not just thinking about taking in more protein. You got cottage cheese and you decided which version you actually like the best, and you've got
small curd, low fat.
There you go.
Daisy.
Sure.
Because not all brands are the same. Like, why is that also? Like, why does different cottage cheese literally taste different?
I don't know. You can ask.
It's all just curdled milk, which sounds really disgusting when you say it that way.
I know. I looked up one time how to make your own cottage cheese because I'm like, we eat a lot of cottage cheese.
And we make our own yogurt.
Yes. No, the process of making cottage cheese, we're not playing that game.
We're not doing that.
No, we're not doing that.
We are buying very large containers from Costco every time we go.
But I know what to get when I go to Costco. I go to the grocery store and I just panic in front of it. And then...
They have the same brand at the grocery store.
I know, but it's a smaller container and there's another container next to it that looks almost the same. And every time I have that same husband at the grocery store panic that I'm going to bring the wrong...
text Angie.
Oh God, I'm going to bring the wrong one home. No, it's not that I'm going to text you. It's, oh no, I have to make this choice because I should not text her because I know the answer to this. And then there's...
It's the light blue one, not the dark blue one.
Yeah, I'm nervous every time I go to the grocery store.
So implementation, when it doesn't cause you major anxiety in the dairy aisle at the grocery store, feels very exciting oftentimes, right? It's that new plan energy. It's like, okay, yes, I'm doing this thing. But unfortunately, this is where a lot of people get stuck because...
I was going to say, this is like New Year's.
Yeah.
Right? It's implementation. It's the excitement of
doing the thing.
Yes.
I'm doing it.
And for that first week, it's awesome because it's new.
And that is awesome.
Once you overcome scary and you start the new thing, then it's exciting because it's new. But then you get the issues.
Yeah.
Sorry, I kind of cut you off there.
No, it's fine. You can keep going.
Okay, so why is it that most people stop? And it's because it's uncomfortable because it's new.
Right.
And
our brain does not like new.
We like it at first. It seems exciting, but then it quickly moves from exciting to uncomfortable.
Right.
It's more effort than we were doing because it's new, so that's automatically more effort. We're trying to figure out how do we even fit this into our schedule. It doesn't match with what we were doing, so there's this friction between who we are and what's actually happening now, and ultimately this leads to our nervous system freaking out on us.
Gotta love our nervous system.
At the worst case, nervous system freaking out.
Threat! Retreat! We must survive. We can't be doing this anymore.
What am I deadlifting for? Go sit down.
What is happening right now?
Just lace them up and run more miles.
Yeah, and I think that it's interesting. Like, as I'm listening to you talk, one of the things that hit me was, why is it uncomfortable? You know, why does implementation require this discomfort? Because like we just said, at first it feels exciting. So why is that uncomfortable? And I think a lot of times it's because we can use motivation or willpower or adrenaline to kind of get ourselves over that hump of starting. Sometimes not. Sometimes that getting over that hump is like the hardest thing. But sometimes we can kind of get over that hump and then we realize, oh, like now I'm on the hill. Like I've got to keep going. It's not like if I stop moving, I'm just going to go backwards and roll back down the hill.
Yeah, now you've become a shark. And sharks have to continuously swim. Like they are always swimming. Even when they're sleeping, they have to swim. Otherwise they sink. So now you're a shark and you're like, oh, I have to just keep doing it. And this is my personal issue with the weight room and strength training in general. I can get myself fired up and be like, all right, I'm going to squat some stuff and I'm going to deadlift some stuff. And then I try and do it. And I'm like, I am squatting very little weight. And I don't want anybody to see how much weight I'm deadlifting. And
that's the beauty of a home gym.
I know. But then like the next week happens and I'd like it to magically be so much more weight. And it's not. And the thing is that it's your body's growth process. I don't expect it to magically go so fast in endurance training, but I'd like it to go so super fast in strength training.
Ooh, that's interesting. Why?
Because I don't like strength training, so can I just get to the result? Like your analogy.
Can we skip to the good part? Remember that trend a couple years ago?
Yes, but your analogy was perfect. Now you're on the hill.
Yeah.
I love being on the hill of endurance training. Of you just got to go out there and put in the miles, and sometimes they're easy and there's some faster, and it's all the hill. I love what that mountain looks like to climb. I don't mind that I don't feel like I'm getting to the mountaintop. I love the climb. I feel like strength training is a different mountain, and I just want to see the view from the top because I don't appreciate that mountain climb as much.
Why not?
Because I never have. And so I have to literally learn how to enjoy that mountain. And there are ways to do it, and I'm working on those ways.
Yeah.
And I keep coming up with new ways because I have not fallen off yet, and I'm going with it.
Because you're getting jacked this year.
That was my thing, and I said that on a few podcasts ago. And I am still maintaining that consistency. The other day, I cut my run drastically short so that I could lift in our garage. Who does that?
I do.
I know.
Well, I shouldn't say I do because I run in strength train on different days.
I know, but I don't do that. I have not done that in years.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I cut my run because I had a window to work out in. And I'm like, I need to get a lift in. So I cut my run way short so that I could lift.
Way to go.
I know. It was weird.
And why didn't you tell me about this so I could like celebrate with you?
I did. You were not. You were doing something else.
Was I asleep on the couch again?
Possibly.
So yeah, so like this is kind of where a lot of people get stuck and where a lot of people fall off the wagon because those old patterns show up. Because implementation requires discomfort and effort and scheduling and getting over those humps of, I don't really like doing this. This isn't really my thing. All the things that Kevin was just saying as really good example, that then we have these old patterns that show up. Like, I don't have time, or I fell off, or I missed a day. So I guess I'm just going to have to start over. I'm starting from scratch. I've had clients come to our coaching calls and say that to me. And I just immediately, I'm like, nope, stop right there. Like, nobody's starting from scratch. Like, we are always starting from where we are. And if you are not at day zero, if you've ever worked out in the past, you're never starting from scratch. But we have to really call ourselves out on that, because I think that our brain really loves to trip us up there and tell us that we are far behind, so that we will stop trying to move up that hill.
So I'd like to add to your climbing the mountain metaphor here.
Yeah.
It's not just climbing straight up a mountain. You're doing switchbacks. Because people like to think, I missed a day, everything's gone. It's like if you were pushing a boulder up a mountain and you stop and it rolls all the way back down the bottom, you're like, I'm all the way at the bottom again. But if it's switchbacks and you stop, you just roll back to where it switches again. So maybe you did, in fact, lose a little bit, but you're not at the bottom of the mountain. You just need to climb that particular switch
Sideways.
again. Yeah. Like, you're just zigzagging your way up. You didn't fall all the way to the bottom. You missed a zig. You have to re-zig. Then you can zag.
Re-zig and then zag.
Yes, that's what I've got. Thank you.
I like it.
Just put it on a shirt.
Re-zig and then zag.
Yeah, it just rolls right off the tongue.
Perfect. Maybe we take off the re part. Zig and then zag.
Yeah.
No, that kind of loses the whole message right there.
I don't know. I'm going to get a tattoo.
Your tattoo is going to be of our logo, but not before re-zigging and zagging.
No, I think the re-zig and zag. It's
maybe it should be a lightning bolt drawn by me.
No comment.
No one's going to understand that joke, so I'll just explain it really quickly. So our cross-country team last year, I think, is when we started this. Not last season, but the season before. I started drawing lightning bolts because they had like lightning bolt shorts, and I bring a Sharpie marker to our cross-country meets, and I like to write little letters on the girls' hands. I've talked about that, I believe, on the podcast before. Like, they choose their power word, and so I write like a letter for them to see during the race, and I put a smiley face on them. And I can't remember if I initiated the first time or someone asked for one, but someone wanted a lightning bolt on their shoulder, and I realized that I was not good at drawing lightning bolts. It did not look like a lightning bolt.
But she didn't realize she was not good at drawing lightning bolts before the Sharpie marker was applied to skin. Yeah. She realized it after there was an awkward zigzag on
but that's what a lightning bolt is. I don't know, like, you can't really mess up a lightning bolt, but somehow I did. Somehow it did not look like a lightning bolt. It's literally like 3 lines to make a lightning bolt.
No, 100%.
But it looked really weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, I forget what we were even talking about. But
my tattoo of zigzagging.
Oh yeah, your tattoo.
Obviously.
See,
and we're back.
So the lightning bolt is like is a representation of the zigzag. It's a switchback on your arm.
It's a switchback.
It's perfect. So where do we get caught up when it comes to implementation, and where, what is this third piece of integration that we're talking about? Because a lot of people would think that, okay, I'm here, I'm in implementation, I'm doing the thing. Now I should feel the change. Now I should start to see the changes. But when that doesn't happen, it can get really confusing. And that's really where part 3 comes in, which is integration, which is the real goal of all of this. Because if you are just implementing things over and over without integrating them into your identity and who you are, that can require a lot of willpower, and willpower runs out. And that's where so many people fall off the wagon. But if we flip and take that next step from implementation into integration, that's when something becomes more automatic. It becomes sustainable. It becomes something that is non-negotiable and something that is a part of just who you are, part of your identity. And we had a really great discussion about this on our coaching call. I can't remember if it was last week or the week before. It was recently, sometime this month. And we were really talking about what are the non-negotiables that we have for ourselves. Like, what in our life or what in our training and our health has become non-negotiable that we don't even have to think about it. I don't negotiate with myself anymore. On Tuesday mornings at 5 a.m., actually at 5:05, my watch rings or buzzes at me, and I get out of bed to go do speed work with my friends. And every now and then my brain is like, no, I'm not doing this today. We're not doing this. And I just say, this is what I do on Tuesdays, because this is just a part of who I have become. This is a non-negotiable. It's automatic. I don't worry about whether or not I'm going to do that thing or not, unless I don't have a running buddy, because I don't run in the dark by myself. So there are certain things that just become a part of who we are. And that's really when it becomes that thing that you don't have to even think about anymore.
But that last part, I think, is the difference between implementation and integration.
Yeah.
Implementation means you have to get up with these people at 5:05 and do your speed. You said, unless I don't have a buddy. or unless it's pouring outside.
Yeah.
Because you're able to make the adjustments because this run is a non-negotiable. You're able to tweak it so that if it doesn't happen at 5:05 in the morning, it can still happen. You're able to rework it instead of the implementation level where it's like, well, that didn't work exactly how I thought it was going to be. I'm done with it.
That's true.
And then you're back to, I guess I should gather more information. On integration, you're like, no, this is what I do. How is it going to fit? Because it didn't fit the way I wanted, but I've done this so often. It's part of who I am. I need to reorganize things so I can figure out how it still fits.
Right. And that actually happened a few weeks ago as well, that my running buddies at 5 a.m. weren't able to make it. And so I just ran at 7:30 or 8, like after the girls went to school. And luckily I have a flexible schedule, so I was able to do that. There was another day where I had to move my run from Friday. Like Friday wasn't going to work out, so I had to move it to Sunday instead. But I have gotten my training to a place where I know how many strength workouts I do per week. I know how many runs I do per week. I know what I'm doing in all of those runs. And again, this is the benefit of having that flexible training plan as well of, I do this number of days easy running, I do a speed day, I do a longer run day. Now it's just about kind of making sure you have all the pieces and then figuring out where they fit in your week. And most of the time, my pieces all fit in the same time on the same day, but every now and then you do have to kind of figure out when that doesn't work out.
Right. So when you bring a new thing, if you've got your schedule all figured out and suddenly you're like, new thing, it throws your schedule. And until you figure out how to put it into your schedule, you're going to default back to your old plan. And your old plan does not include the new thing. No matter how much information you have that the new thing is super important, and even when you start trying to implement that, you're like, actually, I kind of like the new thing, you will go back to default of not doing the new thing, of doing it the way that you did. This kind of reminds me of almost every teacher training that I've had for the last 20 years. You go through, you get your teaching certificate, you know how to do things, and then people come in and they're like, here's a new teaching strategy. Here's a new tool that you can use in your class. And then they're like, we'd like you to implement it sometime in the next 3 weeks. And so then you figure out how you can take the new strategy and implement it and be like, look, I did the thing. But the next year when it comes around to teach that topic, are you going to use the new strategy, or are you going to do the one that you've done for the last 10 years? Like, you're going to default to the way that you've always done it until the new thing becomes so comfortable that it's the way you always did it. It just needs to become such a part of who you are that it no longer feels like a new thing.
Yeah. And that's really what integration is. You don't try to strength train. You don't try to figure out when you're going to strength train or try to get it in. You become someone who strength trains. Why can I not say that word? Strength trains. You become someone who strength trains.
I just had to figure out the appropriate playlist. That is what became part of someone who strength trains needs the right playlist.
And what is on your playlist?
I'm refining it. It's still a work in progress.
Love it.
Yeah, it's still a work in progress. Right now there's a lot of really intense Christian rock, but
intense Christian rock.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it's heavy. So I'm not sure.
Heavy Christian rock.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Christian.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's like Christian metal.
That's a thing?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was great.
I did not think those things would go together.
I had headphones, so you were not able to participate in it.
There we go. So you don't, it's not that you're just out there trying to run easy. You are someone who trains intentionally. It's someone who trains with a plan. You don't just try to get more protein in. You are someone who fuels your body. So that becomes your identity. You are a healthy person that fuels your body and trains intentionally. And in order to be a healthy person that fuels your body and trains intentionally, here are the things that I have to do. Here are the things that I have to implement that will help me to be that person. And that's really when your nervous system feels safe, because it's not that you're asking your nervous system to step out and do all of these uncomfortable things. You're rewiring your identity so that your nervous system is now safe doing that thing, because that is who you are, and that's how you know that you're in that level of integration.
Yeah, the new thing, it doesn't feel new. The new thing feels just completely like part of you.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I adopted that new thing to be a core part of who I was already doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I eat healthy, and now I've adopted that healthy includes the appropriate amount of protein.
Yeah.
So it's not that I have to suddenly eat all this protein and track my protein. It's that I just have to continue eating healthy with this new information coming in.
Right.
So,
like at first, when I tried to, or when I started in increasing the amount of protein that I was eating, it was very intentional and it was uncomfortable. I'm like, really? I have to eat all of this? And I have to really, at the beginning, I weighed and measured everything because I didn't know how much a cup was, how much a half a cup was, what that looked like, what that felt like in my stomach. And now, it's funny, I was talking to your mom actually when she was here, and we were talking about eating more protein, and she was like, well, what would I eat? And I was like, well, a half a cup of cottage cheese is 13 grams, so you can up that to a cup of, if you like cottage cheese, and that's 26 grams. And then I like to put it on toast, and that's another 6 grams of protein and 4 grams of fiber. Like, I just have these things that I eat very normally that I can just tell you how much protein is in all of them, because it's just become a part of like what I do every day, and that has become a part of who I am.
yeah, you also are really good at memorizing numbers.
That's true.
Like how much protein is in 3 eggs?
18 grams.
Yeah, like you have it because you can do the math quickly and you have the numbers memorized.
Right. And then I have my egg whites, and then 3 tablespoons of egg whites is 5 grams of protein. So I can add 3, of those easily. Actually put that on my cereal, which I know some of you already know and think is gross, but it doesn't actually change the taste. And it's a great way to add 15 grams of protein to cereal.
I don't know how many of our listeners know and think that's gross. Our kids know and think that's gross.
Well, everyone that was at our retreat, I told them about my egg white hack. Our retreaters last year.
I just like to mix protein powder into my milk, shake it up, and then pour that over the top of cereal.
Then it tastes like protein powder.
No, it tastes like I took normal cereal and then covered it with chocolate flavor, and it signed me up.
No, the egg whites have no taste whatsoever, and then it just tastes like I'm eating cereal and milk. It's delicious.
Did you used to have a bowl of Cocoa Krispies every day in college? Because that's what I'm going back to.
No.
Because that is also artificial chocolate flavor.
Perfect. So going back to integration, when you take on an identity, so say you are a mom, or you are a Christian, or you are a healthy person. There's lots of different identities that we take on. You're a sister. You're a wife. You're a husband. Like various identities that you've taken on. At first, when you say that, I remember when we first got married, I'm like, I'm your wife. Like, that sounded so weird.
I think we kept saying that during our honeymoon and just laughing about it.
Yes, because you used to say, wife.
Yes, I did.
Because you would say it with the funny...
Time to go get breakfast, wife.
Okay, husband.
Yeah, I don't know why those were the voices. I think that was our Jamaican accent.
our like Southern / Jamaican accent.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It made most sense.
But
I don't know, you had pneumonia, so somehow that made everything I said extra funny.
So wild. But that's kind of where we are now. I think that even though I've had teenagers for years now, it still blows my mind that I'm a mother of teenagers, because it just doesn't seem real that we're in that phase of life already. And I think that, going back to when we got married, it felt weird at first. Like, it felt right. I knew that was what I wanted and who I wanted to be, but it was weird at first to call you my husband. Yes. It was something that we had to kind of integrate into who I am.
Right. At first, we were still in implementation stage and
joking about it.
Implementation. There is an automatic friction involved because it is different than how it has been, and until it gets into integration, once it reaches integration, then not doing it creates the friction, and that's the difference.
Yeah.
Is where's the friction? Is the friction doing the thing, or is the friction not doing the thing?
Oh my gosh, that's so good. It's so. I just thought of my wedding ring. Right, like my wedding ring has literally become a part of me. And in that, I never take it off. I mean, I take it off when I'm dealing with raw meat or like something like that. And sometimes I don't put it right back on right away. And it feels so weird not to have it on. It's become so much a part of just my being.
I have to take my ring off to lift the heavy things.
To lift the heavy things? I actually don't even do that because I wear my weightlifting gloves, so it doesn't bother me at all.
Oh, no, I take the ring off and then I work on the big, strong calluses.
You should wear gloves. That'd be very manly of you. But my sister, or actually my mom's pink gloves are in the basket if you ever want to borrow those.
Jackpot. I'm going to have to get my own gloves with a lightning bolt on them.
I'll draw it for you.
With zigzag gloves.
Oh, it's so funny. But I love what you just said there about the friction of not doing the thing too, because that's how I feel now when it comes to my training sessions. If something comes up and I can't get a training session in that day, it does feel very uncomfortable for me to miss it. And my first thought is, okay, well, where can I fit this in? Because I want to do this and I need to do this to, and it's not that it's a bad thing to miss a training session here and there. So don't hear us say that, right? Because sometimes life happens and it's not a big deal, right? Like it's not a big deal if you miss a training session here and there. But I do think that is a telltale sign of, when something has become more integrated. But it's not that when you miss that thing, it's causing major anxiety because you're going to get it wrong or you're worried. Because I think there's kind of a difference there too. Do you see where I'm going here?
Yeah, I see where you're going. Because that
it can create a lot of anxiety as well.
Yeah, but it's still part of who you are. It's just that
true.
You haven't connected. If you don't do the thing for like a day, you're like, that's just that was a day. Oh, that's not who I am. When you haven't done the thing for a few days. For me, running is how we started the episode. You said, how's the training going? And there have been times where I've strung together like 3 days in a row without going for a run, which is very weird for me. And as is the case with a lot of runners, if you don't go run on a regular basis, you can kind of get a little agitated. Like my students know this. They ask the questions. Some of them come in on Monday and they ask, hey, Miss Brown, did you run over the weekend? Because they're kiss-ups. But some of them wisely know, hey, Miss Brown, did you run over the weekend? Because it will help set my mood on that Monday. Because if I, for some reason, made it through an entire weekend and didn't really run, I'm probably not going to be in the happiest place on Monday morning.
So then they're going to know how to kind of measure
Yes.
you.
100% they know how to measure.
So funny. So I think that really is the big difference, right? Between the 3 I's that we're working with here. Information is more of your head, implementation is action, and then integration becomes your identity. So information is more intellectual, implementation is behavioral, and integration is neurological and identity-based. So that's kind of the difference between all 3 of those.
Yeah, I like that. Head, action, identity. Like just because you're doing the thing. And that's why so many people get stuck on that last one. Because it seems good when you've reached implementation. You're doing stuff. You've made it past taking in the information. You're actually actively doing things. But that doesn't mean you're going to do it with the same consistency as actually integrating it well.
Yeah, and that's really why most people stay stuck, is because they never make it to that integration level. They just keep collecting information, or they mistake implementation bursts for integration. They think, oh, well, I'm doing the thing and I've been consistent, so this must mean, and nobody's probably saying this must mean I'm integrated, like maybe after this episode. But I think that I would challenge you to kind of look at the different things that you are doing on a regular basis in your life, and are you at the level of implementation? Maybe you're still in level 1. Maybe you're in information. Maybe you're doing some things and you're actually implementing. Are you actually integrated? Have those things become a part of who you are? Have they become more automatic and sustainable and non-negotiable to that point where you don't really have to think about them anymore? That's just what you do. Because if you have, fantastic, right? And if you haven't, now you know where you need to look, because you don't want to get stuck in information and implementation. And another big reason that this happens, that people kind of get stuck in level 1 or level 2, is because of the stress bucket. I've talked about this concept of we all have one stress bucket, and all stress is stress, and all stress goes into the same stress bucket. So if your stress bucket gets overloaded, that often leads to burnout. And when you're burnt out, that's going to prevent you from moving into that integration phase. Because a lot of times when one of the big things that leads to burnout and in runners or in any, in humans, is that we are forcing these actions through implementation. In that implementation phase, we're forcing through willpower or through various things that we think are just going to get us to do the things. But that doesn't lead to us actually integrating and regulating our nervous system enough to sustain that change.
Yeah, the stress bucket, the regulated nervous system, they go very hand in hand. Mm-hmm. If you're adding new things to, say, like a running routine, you've got your running routine and you're going to, in my world, you're going to have your running routine and throw strength on top of it. If you don't change the running routine slightly, now you're adding the physical stress of the lifting routine on top of it. That's an increase in stress. But as we pointed out, simply because it's a new thing is an increase in mental load. Mm-hmm. And then if the workouts aren't going well, if you're not seeing the change as fast as you're hoping to, now you have this emotional stress on top of it. Mm-hmm. So you're like, oh, all I'm doing is adding a lift twice a week, and it doesn't even take that much time. No. Now you're thinking about that lift. Where are you going to put that lift in during the day? Did the lift go well? Like, how does it work out? Is it going to adjust your running thing? There's so many things that are all pouring into that stress bucket beyond just the physical stress of lifting the heavy weights and becoming jacked.
Mm-hmm. I'm so glad you pointed that out, because that's so true. And I think that it's one of the things that we often forget about is that extra mental load, emotional load, expectation load, all those things also add to our stress bucket. And that's why I think it's such a good time for you to switch up your training right now the way that you're doing it, because your running already is pulled back a lot. So that, because I'm so glad you also pointed out that a lot of runners try to just kind of add strength training on top of their running, which is not a good way to do it. That's when you just increase your training load, you're increasing the stress on the body, you're going to increase your risk of injury as well. So it is important to adjust your training to kind of pull back on running a little bit as you start to incorporate strength training into the mix, so that you're maintaining that overall load and making sure that you're not increasing that training load too rapidly and putting yourself at a higher risk of injury. So right now, since your running is already so pulled back from where you were, this is a really great time for you to start to integrate the strength training in, and so that you can kind of bring both back in and then start to increase both in a way that feels sustainable for you.
Right. But I also, by pulling back the physical load of running, while I'm gradually bringing in the physical load of strength training, I'm able to handle the emotional load of adding in strength training.
Yes.
And honestly, the emotional load of not having as much of a physical load from running.
Yeah.
The emotional load of not going for mid-teen miles this weekend. Like, my long run was 8 and change this weekend instead of being like 15-ish. Like, and that's a big thing. Mm-hmm. But I know physically I need that so that I can actually keep lifting at the level that I want to keep lifting. And I'm gradually bringing them all up. It's a gradual process. And I'm telling myself that all of the good health changes are such a gradual process. And I enjoy the gradual process with running. So I totally can enjoy the gradual process with strength training. Like that's what I'm telling myself.
Yeah.
Is not that I have to enjoy the strength training, but I truly enjoy the slow, gradual process.
I love that.
So I've taken out
You've taken a piece of it.
I've taken out the of running of strength training and just saying I actually really enjoy focusing on the slow, gradual process. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm telling myself, because I do. And because
that is true for you.
That is true for me. I just need to take away the with running and add it to with strength training and just say, no, I just enjoy the process.
Mm-hmm. I love that so much. And I think that that's really what I want to talk about more now is if you are noticing in this episode that you are stuck in the information phase or the implementation phase, how are you going to move into integration? So I would suggest to choose one thing, like Kevin was just talking about strength training.
Angie on YouTube.
Angie was talking about YouTube, right? Choose one thing, lower the bar, like lower the intensity of the thing that you need to do. So,
that's a good one.
But I mean, that's so hard to do. And I can't say that I did that because I jumped in and decided to post a video every single day.
That is true.
So that was actually really helpful for me because I set a standard for myself. So maybe that's it. Maybe we don't lower it, but we just decide what our standard is going to be.
You set a standard that you felt was actually sustainable.
Yeah.
I knew how much weight I wanted to lift on day one, but I wanted to then be able to come back on my next lifting session of the week. And so what I wanted to lift on day one and what I did actually lift on day one were drastically different numbers.
Okay, so you lowered it.
I did. I lowered the intensity.
Yeah.
I don't think that you set up an intensity level that was crazy.
Yeah.
I think you just set a difficult level that you still felt was sustainable.
I did. And I also got some accountability as well. So one of the ways that one of the reasons that I decided to finally start the YouTube channel and start posting is because I joined a 30-day posting challenge from one of my mentors and coaches, Pat Flynn. He had this 30-day challenge. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. So I made that one decision of I'm going to do this. So that was the one thing. And then I decided, okay, now I'm going to do it. And that's really where the step number 3 comes in, which is building repetition, you know, and some of the videos that I created and posted were not that great. I'm just going to say it. Like, they were fine, but it was just about posting the video. It was less about making sure that the video was super high quality and had tons of information and it was well researched and all of these other things, because that's where I've gotten stuck in the past. I'm like, oh, well, I don't want to post a video if it's not right, if I'm going to get something wrong. Like, I have to make sure that I'm fact checking all of these different things. But part of it also comes down to like trusting myself. Like, I've been doing this for 19 years, like almost 20 years as a professional. So when we add in schooling on top of that, it's been over 20 years. Like, I know my stuff. Like, I don't have to go back. I just always want to make sure I'm putting out really good information. So I decided that before I really focus on improving the quality of the videos, we're just focusing on hitting publish. We're just building the reps and the repetition so that I can just start to build that muscle.
Which is pretty much how my strength training is currently going. Because right now, it is my strength training program. And I know all of Angie's strength training programs, and they are all available to me. I can go through and I can hit them all. You've made programs for me before.
Yeah.
And to do exactly what I want, you could design a program very specially just for me. Of, I want to do all these things, and I don't want to do these 2 exercises because I don't like that particular thing, whatever. You could fine-tune this to me. That's not where I'm at right now. We've not had the conversation yet about creating the program.
I didn't even know that you've been doing your strength training.
Oh, yeah, no, I've actually been consistent.
I've really only seen you do it, I think, once or twice.
Yeah, no, I've actually had some consistency here. But I'm not necessarily... It's not the perfect program. Angie's going to fix my program when we have a conversation.
When you're ready for it. But sometimes at first you don't need the perfect program. You just need to get the reps in.
You just need to do something.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. You start with the implementing, but you have to implement, but you can't leap from info to integration. You have to have some implementation time. And that implementation does not have to be perfect.
Right.
But as you start doing it again and again, it starts sliding into integration. And I think it's easier to slide in integration if it doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
If it's like, no, we're just going to get the thing in. Because that's how a lot of...
I agree. And I think that that's a really important thing to point out, because oftentimes when we go into integration and identity, we think that we have to be perfect. But if we're being real, no human is perfect. Like, if you're any identity that you currently hold, you're never perfect in any of it. Like, I'm a mother. I'm definitely not a perfect mother. We could argue that I'm the perfect mother for my kids because that's why God made me their mom. But I mess up all the time. I definitely make mistakes, and I make mistakes as your wife. I say the wrong things. I make mistakes as a dog owner. So, like, I think that identity is, kind of a thing that we need to build and be okay with not, no perfection.
There's always flaws in it. Like, runner is such a core identity of who I am. That doesn't mean that my running routine is perfect. That doesn't mean that every run feels great. Like, there's issues that show up. Like, I just had what I found to be a rather disappointing last race. Like, things are not going to go perfect. That didn't change my identity. So I think giving up the idea of perfection allows you to slide integration so much nicer.
I love that. And when you give up that need for perfection, that's also going to help you integrate it and help you regulate your nervous system around it so that your body doesn't reject the change. Because if you're telling yourself that you have to be perfect and that's the expectation, then your nervous system is saying, okay, well, if we're not perfect, then this thing isn't okay. This thing isn't safe.
Yeah, your nervous system's on edge for perfection. That's such a fine-tuned alarm system.
No bueno. We had to give up that a long time ago. It's still something that likes to creep up with me because I definitely used to be a big perfectionist, and I've had to release that time and time and time again over the years. But that's when we release that in making whatever change it is you want to make. Maybe it's strength training like Kevin. So instead of thinking to yourself, well, I have to strength train 3 times per week, or I'm trying to strength train 3 times per week, and shifting into identity language of becoming, I am becoming someone who builds strength. I am becoming someone who strength trains regularly and intentionally.
Yeah, I mean, we've got people on the team who have the strength training plan of exactly what they want to follow, and they're like, oh, I missed one of my strength training days. Mm-hmm. I didn't have time to do the routine. Yeah. Okay, but did you have time to do like a lift? Just one.
Yeah.
Just go do some lift to maintain the rhythm of lifting. Would that have even had any physical benefits to you? I have no idea.
It depends on what you did. I actually had that thought today too, because I went out to do my strength work, and it was like later in the day, and I was just tired, and I did my squats, and like my first set of squats did not feel good. I was like, oh, this is not what I want to do today at all. And then I was like, well. And then I finished my squats off, and then I did chest press. I adjusted my squats. At first, I decided I was going to adjust the range. The first set that I put my full weight on, I only did 3 reps because I could just feel it. Like things were not feeling right in my body. Then the second set, I put our plyo box in, so I decreased the depth of my squat and just went down and kind of tapped my tush on the box and then came back up. And then the last set, I went ahead and I did the full squats. And I say all of that to let you know that it's okay to adjust things. And I forget why else I brought that story in here. How was I going to tie that in here?
I'm not entirely sure. I think that it's part of once you've integrated, it becomes a lot more adaptable. Mm-hmm. And at an implementation level.
Oh, I know what it was.
Okay, what do you got?
It was because I was going to just stop after doing my squats, or just stop after doing my chest press and be like, okay, that's it for today.
Because it's still getting in a lift.
Right.
It's not getting in your full lift. It's
still getting in something, yeah.
But sometimes that's what you need. I'm not a huge fan of running streaks. I had one years back, but there are people that the way that they've taken it in, the way they've integrated it to themselves of what they set the bare minimum. I think depending on how you set the minimum allows whether that streak just helps you sort of be who you are, or takes it to a place where it's like that might be too much. You might actually do dangerous things. It's that ability to say it doesn't have to be perfect. If you're maintaining a running streak and it doesn't have to be perfect, whatever your lowest level is, I think really helps.
Yeah, and I think that's where sometimes people go into like walking, right? Like I'm going to do a mile a day, but it can be
it's allowed to be a
walk or a run walk or something like that. And I think that that's really shifting into I have to run every day into like I'm an athlete and I train intentionally, and I'm going to get in an intentional mile every single day, but it doesn't have to always look the same.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
So hopefully by the end of this episode, you understand, information is most likely not the problem, especially if you listen to our podcast. We give you guys tons of information, and implementation may or may not be helpful. I think that it is a good step, but ultimately we want to move into integration. And integration really happens through repetition, through identity, really taking that on as part of who you are, through nervous system regulation and through support. Like those are the things that you need, the pieces that you need to really make whatever change you want actually integrate into a sustainable thing that you will just kind of do without thinking about it.
The support aspect is super helpful, and we haven't really even touched on that, and we've made it to the end, but support is super key. I've actually really worked on this. You pointed out, you saw me lift once, and I feel really good about this. As it comes time to, I think, really lock in my full integration, I'm going to need to lean more on the support from you.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
Right now, it's a messy work in progress, and that's what I need it to be right now. because that's helping me get to integration. When I then need to integrate it and refine it, that's going to need some extra support.
Yeah, absolutely. So depending on where you are in this journey of information implementation and integration, we've got resources to support you. So if you are finding yourself in the information phase, obviously we've got this podcast. We've got tons of free content here on the podcast. You can follow us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, like whatever platform you like. There's tons of information that I have for you guys for free all over all these platforms. If you're like, okay, I need to move into implementation phase, I think that the first best place to start would be strength and mobility. There's lots of good, depending on who you are and what you're currently doing. If you're a runner that's just running, you need to start incorporating strength and mobility. And if you have, if you're not quite sure what to do or what that looks like or how that fits with your running, I created a 30-day reset program, and that is available for you right now. If you go over to realliferunners.com/reset, you can get signed up for that. It's 30 days of intentional strength and mobility work. Most of the days, it's like 6 exercises per day. So it's something that you can fit into like 5 to 10 minutes. You can fit it before your runs, after your runs. You can fit it during the rest of the day. And it's just a way for you to start building those repetitions, building that strength and mobility muscle. And by the end of the 30 days, you are going to feel a difference, like guaranteed, hands down. If you do this program, you're going to feel a difference at the end of the 30 days. And then if you're someone that's like, okay, I'm doing these things, but I'm not really sure how to make all of it integrate. Like, I don't know how to take this on. I'm starting to feel frustrated. I'm starting to feel burnt out. I don't know what my next step is. That's really what the team is for. The team, the Real Life Runners team, is really where we help you and we coach you and help you integrate all of the pieces, including your real life and all the other things going on in your real life, to make this work for you. Because there's so many runners that just kind of look at running or training, but that's not what we do inside the team. Inside the team, we really work on integration of all of it into you as a healthy human being, mind, body, and soul, mind, body, and spirit. Like, I like to look at all of it. And that's one of the things that I think is so special about what we do here.
All right. So we got the podcast, we got all of your socials, the 30-day reset, the team, and of course, eat a lot of cottage cheese, I think is also a good takeaway.
Perfect. And if you are unsure where you kind of fit in, send me an email. Okay. You can send me an email, Angie@realliferunners.com, and I can guide you into kind of figure out, where you might want to start.
You could also send me an email and I will forward it to Angie@realliferunners.com.
Perfect. All right. If you guys found this episode helpful, leave us a comment on Spotify, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, share it with a friend, just take a screenshot and share it on social media, because we would love for you to help us spread the word and help more runners in this world. And as always, thank you for spending this time with us. This has been the Real Life Runners Podcast, episode number 450. Now get out there and run your life.